Hi besties, welcome back to my channel. It's me, Star by Cheesy. If you're just seeing me for the first time, thank you so much for stopping by. To my return subscribers, I love you all. So on today's tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how I made this beautiful shawl collar blazers dress. So if this is what you're interested in, I would like to say you should keep on watching this video. So one thing about a blazers dress is that you can style it different ways. I have different ways of styling my blazers dress, but I can't display all of them here. But just know that blazers dress is one thing a lady should have, and it's very classy and beautiful. So I will try my best to make this tutorial beginners friendly. Okay, so without wasting much of your time, let's get right into the video. So for this tutorial, we're going to be drafting on our pattern paper first, and as you can see, this is my front pattern. This is my front pattern paper. I've gone ahead to draft out my back. I did that off camera, but just note that your back is the normal way you draft your basic bodies. Okay, so this is my front pattern, and when drafting on your front pattern, make sure you have about 6 or 5 inches above allowance. Then on the side you have about 6 inches or 7 inches allowance, 5 to 6 inches allowance as well. So all the measurements is going to be starting from those lines. So I'm going to take my vertical point, which is my shoulder to bust, shoulder to underbust, shoulder to waist, shoulder to hip, and shoulder to the full length of this dress. Then after which I'm going to mark them horizontally. Okay, so this is what we normally do whenever we make any tutorial. So it's simple. I'm just doing it for the sake of the newbies. Okay, so after marking the lines, I'm going to go ahead and label the lines: my bust point, my underbust, waist point, hip point, and the full length of this dress. So the next thing I'm going to do is to divide my shoulder by 2, and I have 9. Come down by 1 inch for my shoulder slope, and from that 1 inch shoulder slope, I'm going to mark my chest line, which is my armhole, which is 9, and which is also going to be serving as my chest line. Okay, so I'm going to mark the lines just this way. So guys, I'm going to take my neck width 3, my neck depth 3. The neck width I used for my back is 3, same 3, but the neck depth is 1. So I'm going to connect the line this way. So this is just for a guide. Okay, then I'm going to mark that 1 inch shoulder slope into the neckline area. So the next thing I'm going to do now, I'll label that the chest line. Then I'm going to take my bust span, which is my nipple to nipple divided by 2. My nipple to nipple divided by 2 is my nipple to nipple is 10, divided by 2 is 5. So I'm going to mark that straight line, then come up by 3 inches from the hip line. Though I later extended this, I wanted to make this as a princess that, like, I wanted you to have a shoulder that, but I later changed my mind. So don't worry, when you're marking, you'll just extend the line down to the length of your blazers. Then I'll come down by 1 inch from my bust point and connect the dart leg just this way. So please, if you're marking on your pattern paper, extend the line down to the full length of this dress. Then when marking your dart leg, you extend it to your hip length. Okay, don't worry, when I'm extending it, you see what I mean. Okay, so I'm going to divide what I have on the shoulder part. I'm going to divide it by 2, and I'm going to mark the line and extend the line into the dart leg, right? So now you see how I'm extending the first dart leg, that nipple to nipple dart leg I extended it into the full length. So that is what you're going to do. Then the 2 dart leg, you're going to extend it down to the hip length. Hope you understand. So this is what you're going to do. So we are done taking the measurement for our dart. The next thing we're going to do now is to determine our break point. And for the break point of these blazers, I'm going to be stopping at my underbust, right? So from that underbust, I'm going to come out by 1.5 inch. You can come out by 1 inch, you can come out by 2 inch, you can come out depending on how like if you want to overlap your blazers, you can come out by 4 to 5 inch, but I just want a button to be there, so I came out by 1.5 inch, right? So I extended it to the length of these blazers, and I'm going to extend the underbust line to that place. So that's where my button will be sitting. Remember, I said this is a blazers dress, it's not going to be short. Like the length is going to be length 35. So now I'm going to connect from that 3-inch for my neck width. I'm going to connect it straight down to that brick point I got. So you can decide to come in by 0.5 inch before connecting, but me, I connected from my neck width 3. That's from that 3 inches neckline, I connected down to that brick point. So that is it. So you might decide to come out by 0.5 and connect. You might decide to maintain that neck width and connect. Okay, so me, I maintained my neck width, which is 3, and I connected it straight into the brick point. So this is the back measurement I took, right? So now pay close attention. You're going to see that these are normal basic bodies, right? Took my nipple to nipple, then that leg I did, the exact thing I did for the front is the exact thing I'm doing for the back. The difference is that the back, the front is going to have a short collar, you get. So just extend the lines for the back, that leg for the back, extend it down to your full length. You divide your shoulder by 2, extend it down into the bust point. Okay, then on the waistline, I came out by 1/2 inch and I just slanted it. It's going to make the back of your blazers relax properly. Hope you understand. So the neck width for the back is 3, same 3 as the same for the front, but the neck depth for the back is 1 inch. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do, and I took my basic measurements and I gave it 1.5 inch allowance. So the next thing you're going to take for the back neckline, you're going to measure what you have on the neckline, and what I have there is 3.75. so I am going to take that 3.75 from my neck width upwards in a slanted way, just the way you see me doing. Make sure it's slanted, it's not straight, it's not the other way, just parallel like this. It's going to be a parallel line, it's slanted, and I'm going to mark it straight to that 3-inch for my neck width. Then from that place, I'm going to come out by 0.5 inch or 1/2 inch. This is going to make your collar sit properly on the neckline area. I'm going to be cancelling that line. So the next thing we're going to do now is on that first line you took, you're going to measure. We're going to measure. Now this depends on how bold you want your collar to be. So I'm going to be using 3 inches, right? I'm going to be using 3 inches for this. I used 3 inches, but I later I used 4 inches, but I later readjusted it to 3 inches. Okay, so at first I forgot we were making a short collar. I thought I was making a notched collar. So with the measurements I took from that place from this place, that first line is 3 inches. That first line you took 3.5 inches. You're going to measure it 3 inches. That is what I took. So I'm going to be using my pen to connect the line. Then I'm going to use my marker to outline it. So I'm making like a curve. So at this point, you play around with your short collar. You might decide to make it curvy, not too curvy. You can decide to make it straight, not so straight. Like just play around with your collar. Okay, are you seeing the way I'm connecting it? Connect it into that brick point area as well, that place you took your brick point. So I'm trying to make a curve. I want my short collar to be curvy. Okay, so at this point, just play with your collar. That's just it. You might decide to do the exact thing I'm doing. So after using my pen, I'm going to use my marker to outline the curve. So can you see? So this tutorial is quite easy, it's not difficult. Can you see my curve? So you might decide to if you want to make your curve bold, not too bold, depends on you. Just do whatever you want to do. So I want to make it more curvy, so I'm going to reconnect it. So that's why I say you can decide to make it more curvy. So this is it, and I'm okay. I think I'm okay with what I have. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to insert my body measurement. But first of all, I'm going to divide what I have on my armhole by 2, come up by 1/4 inch, and make my armhole curve right here. So after that, the next thing I'm going to do now is to insert my body measurement. So I'm going to be dividing my bust circumference divided by 4. My bust circumference divided by 4 is 11.75. So I'm going to mark that 11.75, then add 3 inches for seam allowance. I am using 3 inch for seam allowance because I want these blazers to be free. Okay, So then on my waistline, I'm going to divide my waist circumference divided by 4, which is 9. Then I'm going to replace the dart intake of 1.5 and add my 3 inches seam allowance. On the hip line, I'm going to divide my hip circumference divided by 4, which is 13, and add 3 inches seam allowance. So I'm going to be reconnecting the lines this way. Okay, so I want that hip part to be curvy a little. So I'm going to make the curve and extend a straight line down to the length. It's not going to be an A-line curve. Can you see? I extended it straight down to the length, the full length of these blazers. So we are done. You're going to watch and see how I cut this out. This video will be kind of long. I'm going to be posting everything once so that you understand. I won't be posting it separately. So I'm going to go ahead to cut out these I'll cut out my patterns. So watch and see how I'm cutting out my patterns. Okay, be very careful so that you watch and see how I am cutting my pattern. This is very important so you don't make mistake. Okay, so guys, I am done cutting out. This is our shawl collar. Can you see how it is? So when you fold it like this is how it's going to look on your blazers. So we are done drafting, and you can see where our button is sitting. So this is how it's going to look. The next thing we're going to do now, I'm going to open up the dart leg. Okay, so watch and see how I'm opening up the dart leg. So if you've watched to this extent, guys, and you're yet to subscribe to my YouTube channel, please hit on the subscribe button right away and subscribe. Don't forget to turn on your notification bell so you could be notified whenever we post beautiful tutorials like this. And if you find this video interesting while watching, please give it a thumbs up, share, and leave a comment if necessary. So back to the video, I'm going to label that my center front and my side front. I'm going to bring my back as well and open up that leg. So I'm going to label center back and side back. So I will be opening up the dart leg. So for the yards I'm using for this tutorial, I'm making use of 3 yards of crepe, and my crepe is very thick. I'm not going to be using an interfacing for that. Okay, I'm not going to be using an interfacing. I'll be using just my fabric and the lining. Okay, so I am done. I'm going to cut out that waist side I slanted for relaxation. So this is what we have. We have our 2-piece for the center back and the side back. So this is our back fabric pattern. So this is my pattern, both front and the back. This is the pattern for both the front and the back. Okay, hope you guys understand the drafting of these blazers. So now I'm gonna head to cut out these fabrics. I've cut out on my actual fabric, and I gave the sides 1 inch sewing allowance, and the hemming side I gave it 1/2 inch. So I have my lining for the side front of the front dress. So now please, when cutting your fabric for the center front, is going to be the same as the one as the main fabric you're using for these blazers, because you know the shawl collar is going to come out, so it's going to show. I don't know if you understand. The fabric you're using as your lining for the center front is going to be the same thing as your main fabric. Do you understand? So that after sewing, your fabric in front will be the same as the main body of this tutorial, of these blazers. So I'm going to be using my pin now to pin them down. I'll be using my pin to pin these down so that I will show you. You're going to see how I'm going to be joining them on the sewing machine, and I'll be pinning it down as well because I do not want. So I'll be pinning them down so I don't get confused. Okay, so I don't get confused. So I'm going to be joining the lining for the lining. So one thing about blazers is that you're going to be joining your lining separately, and you're going to be joining your actual fabric separately. So this one on the table right now is my lining. For the front, that's for the center front, is the same thing as my main fabric. Okay, as you can see, the lining of the side front is different from the lining of the center front. So make sure you have the good lining for your side for your center front, your center front lining is going to be the same thing as your main fabric. I don't know if you guys understand what I'm saying. So I'm pinning them down so that I don't get confused when joining them. So I've pinned the side front, one of the side fronts to one of the center front for the front blazers. So after that, I'm going to trim the excess I have down there. So I'll use quarter of an inch to, or half of an inch to stitch down. So on the other side, I'm going to join the remaining side front to the remaining center front. Okay, so I will as well pin it down the way I did for the other side. So this thing I'm doing now, this is the lining piece for the front. This is just the lining piece for the front. I'm going to do same thing for the lining piece for the back, and I'm going to do same thing for the main fabric for the front and for the back. So what I mean is that you're joining your lining differently and you're joining your main fabric differently. You're joining your main fabric differently, you're joining your lining differently. Maybe while as we go on, you're going to understand what I'm saying. So I'll set this aside and I will bring the main, so this is the main fabric now. So what I did on the other lining now, I did it. So hope you understand it. The same thing I did for the lining now, I'm going to do it for this front now. This is our main fabric for the front. This is just for the front. So I'm going to unpin them, and I am going to be do same thing I did for the lining for the front on this main fabric for the front. This is the main fabric for the front. The other one I just removed is the lining for the front as well. You get? So I am going to join them the same way I did for the lining. So watch and see. So I am done pinning them down, and I am going to join them with half inch. Okay, so I'm going to bring the lining piece for the back and the main fabric for the back. Okay, so I am done with the front now, both the front lining and the front main fabric. So this one now is my lining for the back. Okay, so please don't mind, you're seeing different linings because I do not have this for the lining. I didn't have much lining, so I made use of some pieces of clothes I have, okay, in my house. I made use of some pieces of clothes I have in my house. So please just note, you can use one lining for one shade of lining for all these, but make sure your center front, please, your center front is the same as your main fabric. That is it. So this is the lining for the back. Okay, I have different colors of lining because I had to mix everything to get. I was managing fabric, I was managing lining. Okay, so same thing I will be joining. I did for the front, I'll be doing for the backs as well. Join them together, pin them down so I don't get confused. Okay, so I am pinned. These are the two back. These are the two back. That's the left and the right hand side for our back, and these both of them are the linings. Both of them are the linings. So after pinning them down, I'm going to trim out the excess I have. Pinning down is going to help you so that you have a clean job. If you have any excess, you just trim it out. So after that, I'm going to join them with half inch as well. Okay, so I will join them with half inch. So I will set this aside now and fold it and pin down the center back. So this is the center back. I'm going to be leaving about 10 inches opening from that, so you're not sewing entirely at your center back. Do not stitch everything entirely. Now when I'm done joining all these pieces together, you're going to understand what I did. Okay, so you leave 10 inches opening, or leave any opening at the center back for your turning. From there, you're going to turn everything while after sewing. Okay, so when I'm done sewing this, you will understand. So I'm going to stitch now with half inch. So this is what I have. This is the lining for the back. Okay, so I'm going to set this aside, and I'm going to bring the main fabric for the back as well. So this is the main fabric for the back. Sorry guys, this is the main fabric for the back. So I am going to unpin them, and I will be joining, like pinning them again, like pinning the fabric to show you how to join them. So same thing I did for the lining for the back, I'm going to do it for for the front. I am for the lining, for the main fabric for the back as well. Same thing I did for the back lining, I will do it for the main fabric for the back as well. So this is the center back. So I'm pinning them down. You know that area, if you're making a dress, you're going to have a zipper area. That is it here. Okay, so this is it. So you're not leaving any opening for the main fabric for the back. You're not leaving any opening. The only place opening is going to be is the lining for the back. Okay, so I'm going to join the sides now, pin them down, and join the other side as well and pin them down. I hope all this English I'm speaking, you guys are understanding what I'm saying. But anyways, if you don't understand, you can rewind or you can ask your question. Leave your question down in the comment section. But I know after joining all these pieces together, you're going to understand what I did. Okay, so I'm going to pin them down and sew with half inch. So I'll take it to my sewing machine now and join all these pieces I just pinned down together. When I'm done, I'll show you how it looks. So guys, this is it. I'm done joining all the linings together and all the fabric, the main fabrics together. So I think with this now, you're going to understand what I did. So this is the back, the main fabric for the back, and this other one now is the lining for the back. As you can see, that opening, that's the opening I have where I'm going to turn from, and I made sure I notched everything. So after stitching, you notch. So this is my two back, lining and main fabric. So these are my fronts. Okay, so this is the main fabric for the front. Can you see? This is the main fabric for the front, and I've notched all of them. All the stitches I have inside, I've notched all of them. So this is the main fabric for the front. Then this is the lining for the front. Can you see now that the main fabric, the lining for the front, the center front is the same thing as the main fabric? Can you see? Is the same thing as the main fabric. So now I hope you understand what I did here. So make sure that your lining for your center front is the same thing as your main fabric. Okay, so I have joined everything. So I'm going to be showing you what next to do. So I'm going to bring the main fabric now. We're working on the main fabric. I've set the lining for both the back and the front aside. So I'm going to join the sides. So these are the back, this is the back and the front now for my main fabric. So I'll be joining the sides, and anything I'm doing on this fabric now, on this main body, I am doing it on the lining as well. So I won't be filming the lining process, but just so that anything you're doing on your main fabric, you're doing it on your lining. Let me just show you so you see. So I bring the lining now. These are the lining piece for the back. Okay, these are the lining piece for the back and for the front. I am going to join it side by side. Okay, that same thing I did for the main fabric, I am doing it for the lining. So just note that. So anything you're doing on your main fabric, you're doing it on your lining. Hope you understand, guys. So I'll join with half of an inch on the sides, just the two sides with half of an inch, leaving every other place open. Okay, so when I'm done, this is how it looks. Okay, so this is it. So this is a bit tricky, so just watch closely. It's not tricky. Let me don't say it's tricky. This is very simple. It's not tricky. Make sure after stitching, you trim out your excess, the excess you have. Okay, so this is the main fabric. Now I am trimming the main fabric. So, and I'm also going to trim the lining as well. This is the main the main body, the main fabric of this blazer's dress. So I'm going to trim all the excess I have, and this is what I have. I'm trimming both the length, and any excess I have, I'm going to trim it out. So I'm going to align it properly now. I'm going to align it properly now. Can you see? I will turn the back and I'll turn the back. This is the back. So you see how I'm going to join the shoulder. So you're going to bring the two collars, sorry, like this. You bring it like this and you stitch. Okay, you stitch it. So same thing you did for this place. Now I bring it, I am going to take it to my sewing machine and stitch. So same thing you did it for your lining as well. So guys, I am done joining it. Can you see the collar? So let me turn it front side facing, like the front, so you see how it looks. I've not ironed this, but after joining, I'm going to give this a thorough press. Like I am going to press this very well. Don't worry, you're going to see the outcome. So this is the back. I flipped it back to the back side. So now we're going to be joining to our back neckline Okay, so watch now and see. Please pay close attention. Raise this, then you fold it center. Can you see? Then you merge it to the center back. Those lines there are indicating the center. Then you pin all through. Hope you understand, guys. You pin all through. Do you get? I don't know if you guys saw what I did. So same thing I'm doing on this main fabric now. I am going to do it as well on the lining. Whatever I do, I am repeating it, please. Whatever you see me doing on this main fabric, make sure you're doing it on your lining as well. So I'm going to pin the other side. I'm going to pin the other side as well. So this is us measuring the front collar to the back neckline. Do you understand? So I'm going to take it to my sewing machine and run a stitch on it. Okay, and this is how it's going to look after running the stitch. So I am done. This is how it looks, and I did same thing for my lining as well, and I notched it after joining the front collar to the back neckline. I made sure I notched it. So this is the lining. You see, I did the same thing I did for the main fabric. I did it for the lining as well. So I'm going to be setting our lining aside now. I just want to show you how it looks so that you see it's the same thing I did for the front. For the main fabric, is the same thing I'm doing on the lining as well. So this is the front fabric now. So I'm going to bring it like this, face it front side facing you. Okay, the front side will be facing you, then you bring the back, the lining piece, and merge it together. That's front side facing each other. And you're going to pin all round. You're going to pin from the center to the down, all round. You're going to pin from the other side, like you're pinning this now all round. I don't know if you understand. Merge your main fabric and your lining together, front side facing each other, and you pin all round. I will advise you to pin. After pinning, if you have any excess, you trim down before you go and sew. You get? So I'm going to pin this all round now. So guys, as you can see, I am done pinning them, and I trimmed out all the excess I have. I pinned it all around down to the length. Then I'll take it to my sewing machine and stitch. Okay, so this is how it looks after stitching. As you can see, that center side I told you for the lining you should leave open. That's where you're going to turn this from. Okay, that is when you're going to turn this from. So after stitching that all around, make sure you notch before you turn. Okay, so that is the reason why we left that center back open a little. From there, you're going to turn your fabric to the right side. So I'm just trying to align this properly. I'm trying to align this properly. I'm going to use my scissors to all the sharp edges. I'm going to push it out. So as you can see, this tutorial is very, very easy. Like, it's very, if you follow this step by step, you're going to see it's very easy to make. You're not going to have a problem making a blazers again. I made sure I explained it better. Okay, and sorry I'm a bit fast, but even with being fast, you're going to understand what I'm doing. I do not want this video to be too long because I want it to be on one video. I don't want to post the cutting and the sewing part separately. I want all the videos to be together. So now this is when I'm going to iron. I have gone ahead to cut my sleeve. I've cut my sleeve for the this I was supposed to cut 4 sleeves. That's 2 for the main fabric, 2 for the lining. But because I don't want a lining for the sleeve, I have just 2 fabric and just 2 sleeves. Okay, so I'm not going to be turning the sleeve with the lining. I'm just going to attach our sleeve normal way we normally attach our sleeve. Hope you understand. So if I was making, if this fabric was light, I would have made my sleeve 4. That's 2 for the lining piece, 2 for the main fabric, and I'm going to join them on the if I join on the main fabric, I'll join on the lining before sewing all around, then turn with my lining. But I'm having just 2 sleeve here, so I'm going to be attaching it the way I attach my normal sleeve. okay, on the armhole area. I'm just going to attach it the same way I attach my normal sleeve. Hope you understand, because this fabric is thick. The fabric I'm using is thick. It's a crepe fabric and it's thick, okay. So I don't want that thickness, and this blazer is for me, it's not for a client, okay. If it was for a customer, I'm going to line the sleeve. So this is it. So attach your sleeve normal way you attach your normal sleeve, and that is it. So after it, I'm going to go ahead and press this real good, then I'll show you how it looks, okay. So guys, I am done. This is it after pressing. As you can see, it's looking very, very beautiful. So I'm going to be attaching my button, about 4 to 5 button on these other sides from that brick point down. So this is how it looks. It's looking very, very, I just use my pin. I use the pin to pin it down. So this is the sleeve. This is how it looks. I've gone ahead to iron everything down. Everything is looking very beautiful. So if you find this helpful, if you find this interesting, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel guys, share this video, and leave a comment if necessary, okay. Don't forget to turn on your notification bell so you could be notified whenever we post beautiful tutorials like this, okay. So we are done. We've come to the end of today's tutorial guys. See you on my next video. Bye.